Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm taking a look at the Jjrc H12C quadcopter. I really like the looks of this one with its orange colour, but also its striking resemblance to the slated Hubsan X4 Pro that hasn't properly been released yet in over 2 years. In my opinion, this class of brushed quadcopter should be your second model after starting with a nano such as the Hubsan Q4 or the micro class such as the Hubsan X4. This quadcopter is using 4 brushed motors which are geared to give more thrust than the smaller class. With a generous 750 mAh one-cell battery, 2.4 GHz control and onboard 1080p camera with recording, it definitely gives a lot for its low price of 49 GBP. Let's take a look at what you get in the box. We have the quadcopter itself, which already has the propellers on and battery installed. You get the landing legs, which you need to install yourself, a spare set of props, prop protectors for flying indoors, the charging cable, and a screwdriver to install the landing gear and prop protectors, as well as performing maintenance. Interestingly, they provide an SD card reader, but you have to provide your own SD card for the camera. You of course get the transmitter. Its party trick is always a favourite with me. The control pots on the transmitter lift out and can be swapped over so you can fly modes 1 and 2. My only gripe with that is you have to change the mode on the transmitter every time you fly. I would have liked the TX to remember the mode selected, but it's something I can live with. Also, the description written on the display of the transmitter shows mode 1 when you switch it on. This is actually mode 2 and mode 2 is mode 1. Confusing. Onto the functions of the transmitter, you can start and stop the video recording and also take a photo. It has one key return to home, which is not a function I plan on using as the copter has no GPS fitted. Same goes for any headless mode function. You can also turn the lights on and off, but note that the light button only changes the lights underneath the copter and not the main blue light at the front, which is always on. We then have a flip button which is easy to use. Just press once and then the TX will start bleeping. This will allow you to move the stick in the direction you want to flip. Once the flip is completed, the transmitter will stop bleeping and you will no longer be in flip mode. With this transmitter, you also have an interesting rate mode. There is this round dial that you press in the center, and now you can adjust the copter's sensitivity starting from 10% to 100%. This one is simple but important. The quadcopter is always armed, but it's actually the transmitter that disables itself. So when you switch it on, none of the buttons will affect the quadcopter. It's only when you lift the throttle up and then back down the transmitter beeps, and then the transmitter is armed. And then that will then send the signal to the quadcopter. I'm happy to say that unlike the V686, this one has a low voltage warning. You will have about 30 seconds to land when the lights under the copter start flashing. The H12C has a couple of nice features that should be on all RTF quadcopters in my opinion. That is an on-off switch, which means you can leave the LiPo battery plugged in. It also has a JST charging input, which means you never have to remove the battery. I have checked inside and the JST cable just piggybacks onto the battery connector. I'm using a hobby charger to charge the battery. At 1C it takes 50 minutes. The battery bay is quite tight, so you will have to modify it to fit in different batteries. The copter has onboard recording but no FPV. If you want to add your own FPV, please check out my V686 mods video. All the mods I did to that craft can be performed on this one also. Let's go take it for a flight and see how it performs. The quadcopter is incredibly stable. The outside footage does not show this because it's blowing a gale as it has done all year. My recommendation would be to fly this outside in light to calm winds as I am battling with it here. One thing I really like about the flip function is that the quadcopter gains height before maneuvering. I think they have done this to compensate for the extra weight of the camera, and also the manufacturer has taken into account that beginners will be flying this model. Onto the onboard footage, people often complain about the Jello effect with this camera, but actually it's a trait of most action cameras in this small form factor. It is caused by the rolling shutter of the camera being affected by vibrations from the copter. This can be eradicated by flying in lower light situations, such as indoors or flying at dusk or dawn. Another radical thing you can do is to cut up a pair of cheap sunglasses and fix them over the camera lens. This tricks the rolling shutter into slowing down, thus reducing the Jello effect. That being said, the camera has a very narrow field of view. It's not a huge problem as we're flying line of sight. However, it would have been nicer for the recorded video footage too. Unfortunately, the lens size on this one is smaller than that of the 808-16 wide-angle lens, so we cannot simply add that. Personally, I will be using this quadcopter in conjunction with my FPV plates, which you can find on the channel. We can utilize the power output same as I did on the V686. For both of these flights, I used 100% rate mode. Even on 100%, the quad is still quite docile in my opinion, but again, will be great for beginners who want to slowly dial up their rates. The flight time with the camera recording is about 6 minutes, which is respectable. The range is about 150 meters, which is plenty for line of sight flying and also for moderate FPV. We can compare this craft to that of the V686 and the Jjrc H12C. It's slightly smaller than both of them, but not by much. This could sway your decision on which one you want to get, as there's quite a few options now in this category. So there you go, that's my look at the Jjrc H12C quadcopter. I hope you enjoyed the video. A link to the craft will be in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.